Ladies and gentlemen, today we dive into a question that many ponder but few dare to confront openly. Can a woman without friends still find purpose and joy? Now, society has long whispered that friendships are the cornerstone of happiness, that without them we are somehow incomplete. But I want to suggest something radical. Purpose and joy do not hinge on the presence of friends. They are cultivated from within, waiting for us to unlock them through the power of solitude. In those quiet spaces, a woman can embrace the power of solitude. She can turn inward, exploring her thoughts, ambitions, and dreams away from the noise and expectations of others. This solitude is not emptiness, it's fertile ground for growth. When a woman finds herself alone, she has the chance to cultivate something profound, a relationship with herself. So often we learn to befriend others before we even know how to befriend our own heart, our own mind, and our own spirit. Purpose, my friends, does not require an audience. Purpose does not need applause, followers, or likes. Purpose is born in silence. It thrives in commitment, in a woman's devotion to a calling she feels deep within her soul. She uncovers this purpose in moments of reflection, in the stillness where distractions fall away, and she can hear that quiet, persistent voice that guides her forward. When a woman stands alone, she has the unique opportunity to grow, to expand her mind, her spirit, and her abilities. Joy, real joy, comes not from external validation, but from a commitment to personal development. A woman who cultivates her talents, deepens her wisdom, and strengthens her resilience is creating a joy that no one can take away from her. There's a subtle transformation that happens when a woman embraces this journey alone. What some may call loneliness can become the ultimate freedom. Without the obligations of friendship, she finds time, clarity, and energy to pursue her passions with undivided focus. She becomes liberated, empowered to live authentically. Now, joy and purpose can also be found in service, in giving of oneself to something greater. Serving others does not demand that we call them friends. It only requires that we care enough to make a difference. A woman who devotes herself to service, who finds meaning in lifting others, experiences fulfillment that friendship alone may never provide. And as we redefine what it means to lead a fulfilling life, let us recognize that true fulfillment does not depend on companionship. It depends on purpose, on legacy, on the impact one has on the world. A woman can live a life of profound meaning, of undeniable joy, even if her journey is walked alone. She is her own friend, her own inspiration, and her own joy bringer. True growth often occurs in moments of solitude, when the world falls quiet and we are left with nothing but ourselves. This isn't a time for self-pity or for focusing on what may be missing. Rather, it's a sacred opportunity to explore, to grow, and to understand. In solitude, a woman finds the freedom to examine her life without external influence, without anyone else's expectations or judgments to shape her perspective. It is here, in this stillness, that she can reconnect with her innermost self, her dreams, her thoughts, her values, her strengths, and her fears. In solitude, she discovers her resilience. Without a crowd to cheer her on, she learns to motivate herself, to rely on her inner voice rather than the affirmations of others. She grows in confidence and clarity, able to recognize what truly matters to her, what she loves, and what drives her forward. Solitude offers the space to ask important questions. Who am I? What am I here to contribute? These aren't questions answered in the rush of daily life or in the company of others. They are answered in reflection, in prayer, in journaling, or in simply sitting with herself. Instead of viewing solitude as a void, she can embrace it as fertile ground where her purpose can grow. She learns to trust herself, to tune into her own intuition and insights. This solitude becomes a time of refinement, as she identifies her priorities, her vision, and her voice. She begins to notice the subtle messages her heart has been trying to convey, messages often drowned out by the noise and busyness of relationships and social demands. Solitude is not a sentence to loneliness, but an invitation to fullness. It is in this space that she can find her greatest strength, becoming a woman who is whole and grounded, not because of anyone else, but because of the rich and powerful relationship she's developed with herself. Purpose is a force that lies deep within us, waiting to be uncovered, often in the quiet moments when we step away from the external influences that constantly vie for our attention. Society frequently teaches us to look outward for validation, suggesting that our worth and purpose can be measured by the people around us or the accolades we receive. But true purpose doesn't depend on others. It isn't something we achieve by simply fulfilling roles defined by society or others' expectations. Purpose is born from within, shaped by the unique calling that only we can hear. When a woman realizes that her purpose is internal, it liberates her from the need to please others or to seek affirmation from the outside world. She understands that her purpose doesn't rely on a social network, a particular career, or any validation beyond her own belief and commitment. Purpose is deeply personal. It's a drive that connects her with her inner values, her passions, and the difference she wants to make. This purpose doesn't waver based on others' opinions or approval. Instead, it's rooted in her unique experiences, her resilience, and her dreams. This purpose is unwavering, even if misunderstood or unseen by others, because it isn't designed for external recognition. It's there to guide her path and give meaning to her life. Discovering this internal purpose requires introspection, a willingness to journey inward and to explore the depths of one's own soul. It may come as a vision, a calling, or a quiet sense of knowing. Unlike achievements that can be displayed or awards that can be shared, purpose often remains invisible, known only to her heart. This purpose fuels her actions, not because it gains her favor with others, but because it aligns with the truth of who she is. As she follows this internal purpose, she finds herself less swayed by the changing tides of public opinion or by the presence or absence of certain relationships. Her purpose becomes her compass, guiding her decisions and giving her strength. It provides her with a sense of direction that isn't affected by setbacks or challenges because it is grounded in something far more permanent than external circumstances. Whether surrounded by friends or alone, whether celebrated or overlooked, her purpose remains constant. This inner purpose offers fulfillment and satisfaction that no external force can replicate. It is a source of joy that can't be shaken by the opinions of others or by temporary situations. This understanding of purpose is empowering because it gives her the freedom to live authentically without needing to seek approval or fit into someone else's idea of success. She finds that her true value lies in her ability to live a life aligned with a purpose, and in doing so, she experiences a deeper joy, one that is entirely her own. Building a relationship with oneself is perhaps one of the most powerful and transformative journeys a person can undertake. Many of us are taught from an early age to build relationships with others, friends, family, colleagues, mentors, often without truly understanding ourselves. Yet the relationship we have with ourselves sets the foundation for all other connections in our lives. It is a journey of self-discovery, acceptance, compassion, and growth that, when nurtured, can bring a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. At the core of building a relationship with oneself is the practice of self-awareness. This begins with taking the time to honestly reflect on who we are beneath the surface, the values we hold dear, our dreams, our fears, our strengths, and our weaknesses. To know oneself deeply is to embark on a journey of peeling back the layers of conditioning, expectations, and labels that we have accumulated from others. It's a process of finding out who we are when no one is watching, when there are no roles to play or masks to wear. This self-awareness invites us to confront both our light and our shadows, acknowledging the parts of ourselves that we might have previously ignored or denied. Self-acceptance follows awareness. Often people struggle with accepting themselves fully because they are conditioned to believe that they need to be perfect or to meet certain external standards to be worthy. But true self-acceptance means embracing every part of ourselves, our flaws, mistakes, quirks, and all. It means understanding that we are not a finished product, but rather a beautiful work in progress. When we learn to accept ourselves without judgment, we create a safe and loving space within our own hearts, where we can grow and evolve without fear or self-criticism. This acceptance is essential because it teaches us to extend the same kindness to ourselves that we would to a dear friend. Self-love is the next step. To love oneself is to develop a sense of deep appreciation for who we are. It's learning to see our inherent worthiness beyond what we do or achieve. It's celebrating our victories, forgiving ourselves for our missteps, and recognizing our unique beauty and resilience. Self-love isn't a state we arrive at. It's an ongoing practice. It involves setting boundaries, speaking kindly to ourselves, and prioritizing our well-being. When we cultivate self-love, we no longer look to others to fill the void within. We realize that we are complete, capable of giving ourselves the respect and care we need. Developing a relationship with oneself also involves creating a space for self-care. This isn't just about physical wellness, but also about mental and emotional nourishment. It means understanding our needs and tending to them, whether that means taking time to rest, engaging in activities that bring us joy, or pursuing interests that spark our curiosity. Self-care requires us to listen to our inner voice, acknowledging when we need a break, when we need to be challenged, and when we need to be nurtured. When we make self-care a priority, we send a powerful message to ourselves that we are valuable and worthy of care. Another important element of building a relationship with oneself is self-trust. Trusting oneself means believing in one's own abilities, judgments, and instincts. It's learning to listen to that quiet inner voice and to honor it, even if it sometimes goes against popular opinion or external advice. Self-trust grows with experience as we navigate life's challenges and recognize that we have the inner strength and wisdom to overcome obstacles. This trust gives us confidence and resilience as we know that we can rely on ourselves to make the best decisions for our own lives. Building a relationship with oneself also means taking time for self-reflection. Life can often feel like a constant rush from one task to another, but by regularly reflecting on our actions, choices, and experiences, we deepen our understanding of ourselves. Reflection helps us to see where we are aligned with our true selves and where we might be acting out of fear or obligation. It allows us to course correct, to realign with our values, and to ensure that we are living in a way that feels authentic and fulfilling. Finally, building a relationship with oneself involves the courage to be vulnerable. This means being honest with ourselves about our feelings, our fears, and our desires. It requires us to face difficult emotions rather than burying or ignoring them, and to understand that vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength. When we are vulnerable with ourselves, we learn to handle life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. We come to understand that our emotions are valid and that it's okay to feel deeply. This honesty with ourselves paves the way for genuine growth and healing. As we build this relationship with ourselves, we become more anchored and grounded in who we are. We become less reliant on others to validate our worth or to define our happiness. Our sense of self becomes rooted in something unshakable, allowing us to approach relationships with others from a place of fullness rather than neediness. We can give and receive love more authentically because we no longer need others to complete us. We are already complete within ourselves. Building a relationship with oneself is not a destination but an ongoing journey, one that enriches our lives in countless ways and enables us to live with greater purpose, joy, and authenticity. In embracing this journey, we find that we are our own best friend, our own support, and our own source of love and strength. This relationship with self is the foundation upon which all other aspects of life rest, and when we nurture it, we find that we are capable of facing anything life throws our way with grace, courage, and a deep sense of peace. Discovering the power of a personal mission is one of the most profound and energizing experiences in life. A personal mission is more than a goal or a dream. It is a calling, a sense of purpose that resonates deeply within, guiding each step and decision. Unlike external objectives or ambitions that can shift with circumstances, a personal mission is rooted in our values, our strengths, and our desire to contribute meaningfully to the world. It is a path that is both uniquely our own and also larger than ourselves, inviting us to step into a life of significance, impact, and fulfillment. A personal mission often emerges from the moments in life that affect us most deeply, whether that's a life-altering experience, a hardship overcome, or an inspiring encounter. These moments awaken something in us, sparking a desire to make a difference. They open our eyes to the challenges in the world that we feel personally connected to, whether it's empowering others, creating art, healing, teaching, or advocating for change. A personal mission is a commitment that arises from within, not a reaction to external pressures or expectations. It's the thing we are compelled to do because it aligns with who we are at our core. When we discover our personal mission, we tap into an immense source of motivation and resilience. Pursuing a mission gives us a sense of purpose that fuels our actions even in the face of obstacles. Unlike fleeting interests or pursuits that may fade over time, a personal mission anchors us. It provides clarity and direction, acting as a compass that keeps us focused even when life gets challenging. With a mission guiding us, we find ourselves less swayed by temporary setbacks or the opinions of others. Our mission becomes the driving force that propels us forward, helping us to overcome fears, doubts, and distractions. Pursuing a personal mission also brings a unique sense of fulfillment and joy. When we engage in work or actions aligned with our mission, we experience a kind of flow of deep satisfaction and focus that is hard to achieve otherwise. This fulfillment doesn't rely on recognition or rewards. It is intrinsic, a result of knowing that we are living authentically and in alignment with our values. There is a joy in doing work that matters to us, in creating something meaningful, and in feeling that our lives have significance beyond personal gain. The pursuit of a mission often involves challenges, sacrifices, and moments of uncertainty, but these difficulties pale in comparison to the satisfaction that comes from living a life guided by purpose. A personal mission also has the power to inspire others. When we are committed to a mission, we radiate a passion and enthusiasm that can encourage those around us. People who live with a sense of purpose often serve as examples, showing others what is possible when we live authentically and courageously. The impact of a personal mission extends beyond the individual. It creates a ripple effect that touches the lives of others, inspiring them to discover their own paths and live with greater intention. In this way, our mission contributes to a larger community, a movement, or even the world at large, as each of us brings our unique gifts to the table. Additionally, a personal mission cultivates a sense of self-worth that is unshakable. We often measure ourselves by our achievements, possessions, or social standing, but when we are connected to our mission, we realize that our worth is far more profound than these external markers. Living with purpose helps us see our inherent value and contribution beyond societal definitions of success. We come to understand that our significance is not based on what we have, but on who we are and the impact we make. This self-worth becomes an anchor, giving us the courage to pursue our mission despite the opinions or doubts of others. A personal mission also brings structure and meaning to our daily lives. Instead of drifting from one task to the next, we approach each day with a sense of purpose and clarity. Our choices, actions, and even the people we spend time with become aligned with our mission, creating a life that feels intentional and cohesive. This alignment transforms our everyday routines into meaningful steps toward our larger purpose. We wake up each day not only with things to do, but with a vision to work toward, which enriches our lives and gives them a sense of continuity and direction. At times, a personal mission may lead us down paths that are difficult or even isolating. Not everyone will understand or appreciate the depth of our commitment. And there may be times when we question our own path. But it is in these moments that the true power of a personal mission is revealed. Knowing that we are fulfilling a purpose larger than ourselves gives us the courage to stand firm, even when faced with opposition or doubt. It allows us to endure hardships with resilience and to stay focused on our goals, knowing that the challenges we face are part of a journey worth taking. In discovering and pursuing a personal mission, we come to understand that our lives are about more than mere existence. They are about making a meaningful contribution. A personal mission transforms the way we see ourselves and the world. It challenges us to become more than we thought possible, to grow in ways we never imagined, and to impact the world in ways we may never fully realize. This mission is not a destination, but an ongoing journey, one that continually calls us to deepen our understanding, expand our compassion, and commit to our unique role in the world. A personal mission is a source of strength, joy, and fulfillment. It is a call to live boldly, to love deeply, and to give freely of ourselves. When we discover our mission, we tap into a purpose that transcends our individual lives, connecting us to something greater, something lasting. we find that we are not merely passing through life, but actively shaping it, leaving a legacy that endures. A personal mission reminds us that our lives have meaning, that our actions matter, and that each of us has the power to make a difference, one intentional step at a time. Creating joy through self-development is an empowering journey of growth, learning, and discovery. Rather than depending on external sources for happiness, self-development teaches us that joy is something we can cultivate from within. By investing in our own growth mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we find a deep, lasting satisfaction that enhances every area of our lives. Self-development isn't just about reaching certain milestones, it's a commitment to becoming the best version of ourselves, continually evolving in ways that align with our true values and potential. When we engage in self-development, we open the door to continuous learning. This doesn't only mean academic or professional knowledge, it's about understanding ourselves, our passions, and our potential. Learning new skills, exploring our interests, or even picking up a hobby we've always wanted to try brings a sense of excitement and achievement. With each new skill or area of knowledge, we experience a boost in confidence. We come to see ourselves as capable and adaptable, able to take on new challenges. This confidence is a source of joy because it allows us to feel empowered, knowing that we have the tools to face whatever comes our way. Self-development also fosters emotional growth, teaching us to understand and manage our feelings. As we become more in tune with ourselves, we learn to navigate our emotions with greater resilience and awareness. Emotional growth helps us build healthier relationships with ourselves and others, bringing clarity and reducing internal conflicts. Through self-reflection, journaling, or practices like meditation, we learn to process emotions constructively, creating a sense of inner peace. This emotional growth is deeply rewarding because it strengthens our inner stability, reducing stress and increasing our overall sense of well-being. When we feel emotionally balanced, we are more open to the small joys of daily life, unburdened by excessive worry or self-doubt. As we commit to our personal development, we often discover new passions and interests we hadn't previously explored. These pursuits add richness and depth to our lives, giving us something to look forward to and invest in. Engaging in these passions brings us into a state of flow, where time seems to stand still and we are fully absorbed in the present moment. Whether it's writing, painting, dancing, or any other activity that makes us feel alive, these pursuits become a source of joy. They remind us that life is not solely about work or responsibilities, but also about creative expression and exploration. The joy that comes from pursuing these interests is fulfilling because it's rooted in activities that are personally meaningful and allow us to express our authentic selves. Self-development also nurtures spiritual growth, a sense of connection to something larger than ourselves. This may come through meditation, prayer, spending time in nature, or simply reflecting on our purpose in life. Spiritual growth gives us a sense of meaning and helps us see beyond the surface challenges of life. It instills a sense of gratitude, which in itself is a powerful source of joy. By focusing on the good in our lives and appreciating the small blessings, we cultivate an outlook that embraces positivity. Spiritual development fosters joy by helping us see that happiness is not just found in grand achievements, but in the everyday moments and in the recognition of the abundance that already exists around us. As we develop ourselves, we also learn to set healthier boundaries and make better choices for our well-being. This aspect of self-development is key to creating a life that feels aligned and balanced. When we respect our own needs and make decisions that honor our mental, physical, and emotional health, we feel a sense of integrity and self-respect. By saying no to things that drain us and yes to what uplifts us, we find more joy in our day-to-day lives. These boundaries prevent burnout and leave space for us to pursue activities and relationships that bring true joy. Setting boundaries is not about limiting ourselves, it's about creating an environment where we can thrive and feel energized. Self-development can also be an inspiring journey because it helps us see how far we've come. When we take time to reflect on our progress and recognize our achievements, no matter how small, we feel a sense of pride and fulfillment. The act of looking back on our journey and acknowledging the hurdles we've overcome reminds us of our resilience and growth. This reflection fosters gratitude and joy because it allows us to celebrate who we are and recognize our strength. We no longer measure our worth by other standards, but by the meaningful strides we've taken toward our own goals. The journey of self-development also helps us create more authentic connections. As we come to understand ourselves more deeply, we become more attuned to what we want and need in relationships. This clarity allows us to build connections that are based on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine understanding. Authentic relationships are a source of deep joy because they bring a sense of belonging and support, allowing us to show up as our true selves. Through self-development, we attract relationships that encourage our growth and enrich our lives in ways that superficial connections cannot. Perhaps one of the greatest sources of joy from self-development is the realization that we are actively shaping our lives. This sense of agency empowers us, reminding us that we are not just passive recipients of circumstances, but active participants in our own destiny. Each day, as we take small steps toward growth, we realize that we have the power to create a fulfilling and meaningful life. This awareness brings joy because it frees us from feeling like victims of fate. We recognize that we can always make positive changes and that with each step, we are moving closer to the vision we have for ourselves. In developing ourselves, we cultivate qualities like resilience, compassion, and wisdom. These qualities enable us to handle life's challenges with grace, creating a steady source of joy that isn't easily shaken by setbacks. Self-development doesn't guarantee a life without struggles, but it provides us with the tools to navigate them in a way that keeps us grounded in purpose and inner peace. This strength becomes a wellspring of joy because it means we are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. Instead, we have a reservoir of inner resources to draw from. Ultimately, creating joy through self-development is a journey of becoming our truest selves. It's about embracing growth even when it's uncomfortable and finding happiness in the process of discovering who we are and what we're capable of. Through self-development, we find a joy that is not fleeting or dependent on others, but rooted in a profound sense of self-respect, inner peace, and purpose. This joy becomes a guiding light, illuminating our path and inspiring us to live a life that is rich, fulfilling, and deeply meaningful. Transforming loneliness into freedom is a powerful and transformative process that requires a shift in perspective. Loneliness is often seen as an uncomfortable state to be avoided, a reminder of what is missing or of isolation. However, by reframing loneliness as a path to freedom, we can open ourselves up to a world of self-discovery, autonomy, and personal strength. Loneliness, when approached with intention and self-awareness, can lead to a liberating realization, the understanding that we are enough on our own and that true freedom is found within. The first step in transforming loneliness is to embrace solitude rather than resist it. Solitude is not just being alone, it is a chosen state, one where we consciously decide to engage with ourselves without distraction. In solitude, we have the opportunity to reconnect with our inner self, our dreams, values, and priorities. When we stop fearing loneliness and start seeing solitude as a chance to explore our inner world, we reclaim power over our own lives. Solitude allows us to realize that our identity, happiness, and sense of self-worth do not have to depend on the company of others. Instead, we learn to draw strength and comfort from within, laying the foundation for true freedom. Loneliness also offers a valuable opportunity to examine our relationship with ourselves. Often, the discomfort we feel in loneliness stems from an underlying discomfort with being alone with our own thoughts and feelings. By confronting this discomfort head-on, we gain insight into our emotional needs, insecurities, and fears. Instead of using external relationships or distractions as a buffer, we learn to address these feelings and understand them. This self-awareness becomes a form of freedom in itself, freeing us from dependency on others to fill voids or soothe insecurities. We become our own source of support, comfort, and validation, which is immensely empowering. As we transform loneliness, we begin to see it as an invitation to pursue self-fulfillment. With fewer distractions, we have more time and mental space to explore activities, hobbies, and passions that genuinely interest us. Engaging in creative pursuits, learning new skills, or even spending time in nature allows us to discover the joy of doing things solely for ourselves. These activities bring a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment that is not reliant on external validation. As we immerse ourselves in what we love, we cultivate a sense of independence that is deeply satisfying. We come to realize that fulfillment and joy can be generated from within, making us less dependent on others for happiness. Loneliness can also be transformed into freedom by redefining our understanding of relationships. When we rely too heavily on others for our sense of identity or purpose, we inadvertently give away our personal freedom. By spending time alone, we gain clarity on what we truly want and need in relationships, free from external influences. This understanding allows us to approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. We become more selective about the people we allow into our lives, choosing connections that are healthy, respectful, and aligned with our values. This freedom of choice in relationships brings a profound sense of autonomy and self-respect, as we are no longer bound by the fear of loneliness or the need for validation. Transforming loneliness into freedom also involves developing a mindset of gratitude and self-sufficiency. Instead of focusing on the absence of companionship, we can learn to appreciate the aspects of life that bring us joy and peace. This shift in focus from lack to abundance helps us see that we are never truly alone. We can cultivate a relationship with ourselves that is rich and rewarding, grounded in self-acceptance and compassion. By nurturing gratitude for what we have, our health, our experiences, our personal growth, we develop a sense of wholeness. This inner wholeness becomes a source of freedom as we realize that our happiness is not contingent upon others. Loneliness can also be transformed by embracing the idea of adventure and self-discovery. Often, the most transformative journeys are those we undertake alone because they challenge us to rely on our own instincts, strengths, and resilience. Exploring new places, learning new things, or even stepping out of our comfort zones allows us to expand our horizons without needing a companion to validate the experience. This sense of adventure reinforces our independence and builds our confidence. We come to see ourselves as capable, adaptable, and whole. This freedom from dependency on others for validation or comfort becomes a deeply empowering realization. Furthermore, loneliness, when viewed as freedom, allows us to redefine our goals and dreams. Without the pressure of conforming to others' expectations, we can pursue paths that are authentically our own. This freedom to live according to our values and desires is one of the greatest gifts of solitude. We are no longer bound by societal or relational pressures, and we are free to explore our own unique journey. In this way, loneliness becomes a catalyst for growth and self-actualization, guiding us toward a life that reflects our truest self. Transforming loneliness into freedom also encourages us to cultivate inner peace. This means learning to be present with ourselves, to appreciate the stillness, and to find contentment without external stimuli. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, or simply taking quiet walks help us cultivate a state of inner calm that is independent of our external circumstances. This inner peace becomes a source of freedom because it is unshakable, allowing us to navigate life's ups and downs with resilience and clarity. We find that we are less affected by external changes as our sense of well-being is anchored within. Lastly, as we transform loneliness into freedom, we begin to see that solitude is not a limitation but an expansive state. With fewer distractions, we gain the freedom to dream, to imagine, and to plan for our future. We have the space to envision the life we want to create without the constraints of others' opinions or expectations. This vision setting allows us to approach life with intention and purpose, empowering us to make choices that align with our authentic desires. In solitude, we find the freedom to be unapologetically ourselves, to embrace our uniqueness, and to create a life that brings us joy and fulfillment. In transforming loneliness into freedom, we realize that true freedom is not about the absence of people, but the presence of a strong relationship with ourselves. This inner freedom allows us to navigate life with confidence, resilience, and joy, knowing that we are complete and capable on our own. Instead of fearing loneliness, we come to appreciate solitude as a powerful and liberating force that opens doors to self-understanding, growth, and a deeper, more profound sense of freedom.
Finding connection in service is one of the most fulfilling paths to a sense of belonging and purpose. When we give of ourselves our time, energy, and compassion to uplift others, we tap into a profound source of joy and unity. Service connects us to something greater than ourselves. It bridges, divides, and unites people across different backgrounds and experiences. By serving others, we discover the intrinsic value of human connection, not through what we gain, but through what we gain. Service shifts our focus outward, helping us see life from new perspectives and reminding us of our shared humanity. In a world that often emphasizes personal gain and individual achievement, service invites us to step outside our own lives, and look at what we can contribute to the well-being of others. This selfless approach creates a profound sense of connection because it reminds us that we are all interconnected and that every act of kindness we offer has a ripple effect. When we give, we engage with others on a level that transcends personal interest, and in this space, genuine connections are born. Engaging in service also fosters empathy and compassion. By helping others, we often come face to face with struggles and challenges we may not have encountered in our own lives. These experiences broaden our understanding and help us appreciate different perspectives. As we listen, learn, and offer support, we cultivate a deeper sense of empathy, realizing that every person has their own battles. This shared vulnerability fosters a powerful bond. We see that we are not alone in our experiences. Our service brings us closer to others, allowing us to build relationships based on understanding and mutual respect. Service also brings a sense of purpose that can be deeply rewarding. Knowing that our actions are making a difference, even in a small way, gives us a sense of direction and fulfillment. It reassures us that our presence matters and that we can have a positive impact on the world around us. This feeling of purpose fills the void that loneliness sometimes creates, reminding us that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. When we engage in purposeful service, we feel connected to a community, a cause, or even humanity as a whole. This sense of purpose is a source of strength and joy, offering a deep and lasting connection to life. By dedicating ourselves to the well-being of others, we also find a sense of identity that is grounded in values like compassion, kindness, and generosity. These values form the foundation of strong connections and meaningful relationships. Service helps us to realize that our worth is not defined by external achievements, but by the positive impact we have on others. This shift in perspective allows us to feel secure and grounded in our own value, free from the need for external validation. When we engage in service, we build an identity that resonates with who we truly are, and this attracts like-minded individuals, creating authentic connections rooted in shared values. Service also offers a way to step out of our comfort zones and explore new communities and perspectives. Volunteering in unfamiliar settings or working with people from different backgrounds can introduce us to a diversity of experiences and ideas that enrich our understanding of the world. In these spaces, we form connections based on shared goals and mutual support, regardless of differences. This willingness to embrace diversity and serve alongside others creates a sense of unity and shared purpose that can be deeply fulfilling. Through service, we learn to value the beauty of diversity and the power of collective effort. Finding connection in service also cultivates gratitude. When we serve others, we often become more aware of the challenges they face and the resilience they exhibit. This awareness fosters a sense of gratitude for our own lives and the support we have received. Gratitude, in turn, deepens our connection with others by reminding us of the importance of community and support. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we can give, creating a positive cycle of generosity and appreciation. Through this lens of gratitude, our service becomes not just an obligation but a source of joy and fulfillment. Service allows us to build relationships based on authenticity and kindness. In serving others, we are not concerned with appearances or status. We are focused on offering genuine support. This sincerity creates a safe and trusting environment where people can be themselves, free from judgment or pretense. When we approach service with an open heart, we attract connections that are rooted in authenticity. People are drawn to sincerity, and when they sense that our actions are motivated by a genuine desire to help, they are more likely to open up and form real connections. Service fosters an environment of trust and openness that lays the foundation for enduring relationships. One of the most transformative aspects of service is the sense of belonging it provides. When we serve others, we become part of a network of people who share our commitment to making a difference. This community of like-minded individuals becomes a source of support, inspiration, and camaraderie. Serving alongside others who are equally passionate about a cause creates a bond that is strengthened by shared values and goals. We find ourselves surrounded by people who understand our motivations and appreciate our contributions, making us feel valued and included. This sense of belonging is a powerful antidote to loneliness, reminding us that we are never truly alone when we are working toward a common purpose. Through service, we also come to see that connection is not limited to people we know personally, it extends to all of humanity. Every act of kindness, every effort to improve the world, no matter how small, connects us to a larger human family. This broader sense of connection fills us with a feeling of unity and solidarity with others, no matter where they are. It allows us to recognize that our lives are interconnected, that our actions have an impact, and that we are part of a collective effort to uplift and support one another. This realization brings a profound sense of belonging that transcends individual relationships, reminding us of our place in the world and the importance of each contribution we make. Ultimately, finding connection in service transforms the way we view relationships and community. We come to understand that connection is not just about receiving, but about giving, about the ways we can positively impact others' lives. This selfless approach to relationships creates a deeper, more meaningful sense of connection. Service helps us move beyond the limitations of loneliness by showing us that, when we extend kindness, compassion and support to others, we are not only enriching their lives but also our own. We discover that in giving, we receive, and in connecting with others through service, we find a sense of purpose, unity and fulfillment that is unmatched. Service, then, is not only a way to connect with others, but also a path to discovering the joy and strength that come from living a life centered on compassion and community. Through service, we find a sense of belonging that is enduring, a connection that resonates deeply, and a purpose that transcends individual needs. In serving others, we find ourselves and, in the process, uncover a profound freedom and joy that only true connection can bring. Redefining fulfillment beyond friendships opens the door to a deeply enriching life anchored in self-discovery, purpose and personal growth. While friendships offer invaluable companionship and support, fulfillment doesn't have to depend solely on our social connections. True fulfillment is an internal journey that extends beyond relationships, rooted in the unique goals, passions and values that give life meaning. This journey encourages us to look inward, exploring the vast potential within ourselves and embracing a broader perspective on what it means to lead a fulfilling life. To redefine fulfillment, it's essential to recognize that satisfaction and contentment come from a strong sense of self and alignment with one's core values. This inner foundation empowers us to create a life of purpose that is not reliant on the presence or absence of friendships. By developing a clear understanding of our values and what truly brings us joy, we start building fulfillment from within. We learn to make choices that resonate with who we are, focusing on activities, environments, and pursuits that nourish our spirit and align with our personal growth. This alignment with self helps us experience a deep sense of satisfaction that doesn't waver with changes in our social circle. A powerful part of this journey is developing personal goals and passions that inspire us. These passions serve as pillars of fulfillment, offering a sense of purpose and motivation. Pursuing hobbies, interests, or even career ambitions brings a sense of achievement and joy that is rooted in our own efforts and aspirations. Whether it's a creative pursuit like painting, an intellectual endeavor like studying philosophy, or an athletic goal like running a marathon, these personal pursuits offer a sense of accomplishment that isn't tied to the presence of others. They help us feel whole, complete, and capable on our own, reinforcing the understanding that fulfillment is something we can cultivate independently. Another essential aspect of fulfillment beyond friendships is spiritual growth and connection. By nurturing our inner lives through practices like meditation, prayer, journaling, or spending time in nature, we tap into a profound sense of peace and connection that is not reliant on other people. This spiritual connection gives us a sense of unity with the world around us, an understanding that we are part of something greater. Such moments of reflection and connection bring a deep, abiding fulfillment that resonates beyond temporary companionship. Spirituality becomes a wellspring of inner peace and joy, offering fulfillment that remains steadfast regardless of our social interactions. Self-care and well-being also play significant roles in finding fulfillment outside of friendships. By prioritizing our physical, emotional, and mental health, we strengthen our capacity to enjoy life. Practices like exercise, healthy eating, and mindfulness help us feel vibrant and engaged, enhancing our ability to experience joy and satisfaction. Self-care is an act of self-respect, a reminder that we are deserving of care and attention. This care enhances our relationship with ourselves, reinforcing that we are a source of our own happiness and fulfillment. By honoring our needs, we create a life that feels complete and fulfilling, regardless of our social circumstances. The pursuit of knowledge and personal growth is another vital avenue for fulfillment. Continuous learning keeps the mind engaged, curious, and evolving. Whether we're learning a new skill, taking a course, reading books that expand our perspective, or exploring subjects that captivate us, the quest for knowledge brings excitement and satisfaction. This growth keeps life interesting and dynamic, reinforcing the idea that fulfillment is something we can cultivate through our own curiosity and ambition. When we invest in our intellectual and personal development, we enrich our lives in ways that bring lasting fulfillment, making our journey rewarding in its own right. A sense of contribution is another powerful source of fulfillment that exists beyond friendships. When we serve others, whether through volunteering, mentoring, or simply offering kindness in everyday interactions, we experience the joy of knowing we're making a positive difference in the world. Service helps us connect with a larger purpose, giving our actions meaning that goes beyond personal benefit. This sense of contribution reminds us that we are valuable and capable of impacting others' lives, creating a lasting fulfillment that comes from giving rather than receiving. Contribution shifts the focus from what we lack to what we can offer, transforming loneliness or emptiness into a sense of purpose and joy. Creativity is yet another pathway to fulfillment. Engaging in creative activities, whether writing, painting, cooking, or even gardening, allows us to express ourselves fully and authentically. Creativity taps into the unique qualities that make us who we are, offering a sense of accomplishment and joy that is deeply personal. When we create, we connect with an inner source of inspiration and possibility, building a fulfillment that is unique to our individuality. Creative expression becomes a refuge, a place where we can explore, imagine, and bring new ideas to life. This personal connection to creativity reinforces that fulfillment can be found within, as we engage in activities that bring us alive in ways no one else can. Building a life philosophy, a personal framework for interpreting life's experiences, also contributes to a deep sense of fulfillment. Reflecting on our beliefs, values, and principles provides a stable foundation for how we navigate challenges and make decisions. A strong philosophy helps us find meaning in difficult moments and celebrate moments of joy. This internal compass becomes a source of strength, guiding us toward choices that enhance our fulfillment and resonate with our deeper values. When we live according to our philosophy, we experience a sense of coherence and integrity, which brings a lasting satisfaction that is unshaken by external factors. Redefining fulfillment also involves embracing solitude as a positive, even enlightening experience. Solitude offers the opportunity to reflect, recharge, and explore our own inner landscapes. In solitude, we discover the richness of our own thoughts, dreams, and emotions. By learning to be comfortable alone, we build resilience and a profound understanding that we are enough as we are. Solitude teaches us to be our own company, allowing us to discover a joy that is independent of external validation or companionship. Through solitude, we cultivate an unshakable fulfillment that remains with us, even in the absence of close relationships. Finally, practicing gratitude enhances fulfillment by shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have. A daily practice of gratitude reminds us of the abundance in our lives, the blessings we often overlook. By appreciating small moments like a beautiful sunset, a good meal, or a quiet moment, we learn to find joy in the present. Gratitude reframes our experiences, highlighting the richness in our lives and reinforcing that fulfillment is a choice, an attitude we cultivate from within. This shift from scarcity to abundance creates a sense of contentment and joy that transcends circumstances, filling our lives with meaning and satisfaction. Ultimately, redefining fulfillment beyond friendships is about discovering the richness of life from within. It's about understanding that relationships, while beautiful, are just one part of a fulfilling life. When we develop a deep, internal sense of purpose, engage with passions that bring us joy, and cultivate a life that resonates with our values, we create a fulfillment that is unbreakable. This journey of self-discovery, purpose, and growth allows us to experience a life of meaning, joy, and peace that is ours alone. By looking inward and expanding our sources of satisfaction, we find that fulfillment is not something we search for outside ourselves, but something we create and nurture from within. In conclusion, finding purpose and joy without friends is not only possible but can lead to profound fulfillment that goes far beyond what we typically imagine. True joy and purpose aren't bound to our social circles but are rooted in our relationship with ourselves, our values, and the way we choose to live our lives. By embracing solitude, nurturing our personal growth, discovering our unique missions, and finding ways to serve others, we open ourselves to an enduring sense of connection and meaning. Fulfillment becomes an internal journey where we redefine our sources of happiness, turning loneliness into freedom, solitude into strength, and service into unity. As we cultivate a life aligned with our core values, guided by self-awareness, and enriched by gratitude, we realize that joy and purpose are not privileges granted by external circumstances, but treasures that arise from within. This journey invites us to lead lives of depth, resilience, and integrity, lives that are truly our own.